A Total War Saga Troy is the latest game in the Total War series developed by the Creative Assembly and brings with it a completely new setting as well as a host of new features. But is it any good? That's what we're here to find out. Troy takes place in both a historical and mythical setting, as the game is based on the Trojan Wars and the Iliad written by Homer. Greece, the Aegean, and much of Anatolia is where you'll be waging wars and developing your settlements, as the Achaeans, led by King Agamemnon, try to invade the Trojans located on the other side of the narrow sea. The choice is yours to attack or defend Sacred Troy, and so is the choice of mythical hero you'll do it with. There are two faction groups in the game, corresponding to this attack or defend dilemma. You may choose between the Danaans or the Trojans, and within these factions, you pick between 4 unique heroes, which will determine how you should play and what features will be available to you. This is where Troy's greatest strengths emerge, the uniqueness of the heroes and factions. Playing as King Menelaus of Sparta will offer a vastly different campaign experience than if you were to play as Paris of Troy or even King Agamemnon, neighbor and ally of Menelaus. As Menelaus of Sparta, you have the ability to recruit the units of your allies, making your unit roster potentially massive and highly adaptable and diverse. In addition, the game allows you to destroy settlements and recolonize them. Factions usually require a unit to settle such a settlement, but Sparta may colonize such cities regardless of present units as long as the city is within its field of view. This makes Sparta an expansionist faction, but also one reliant on allies. Paris of Troy, the man who began this whole bloody war by bringing Helen with him across the sea, plays very different. Here, Helen herself changes your whole campaign due to bringing your faction positive or negative modifiers depending on her mood. This feature, named Helen My Love, requires Helen and Paris to stay in the same city as often as they are able, which will keep Helen happy. If you need Paris for warfare, however, Helen may be moved to him. As long as Paris is stationed in a city, Helen may transfer to that city by way of the Helen My Love feature. It will cost you resources, but Helen's move requires you to organize a feast, gathering a prayer, or setting up military games in that city, bringing positive effects to the province. This feature restrains Paris because you never want him too far away from Helen, and moving Helen may only be done once every handful of turns. Paris also requires us to pay attention to the Priam's heir feature, a feature Paris shares with Hector of Troy, his brother. Priam's heir is essentially a race to reaching your father's love first, which in the very end will garner you massive boons and the city of Troy itself. You may gain favor with your father in several ways, such as winning battles against a common enemy shared by you and your brother, and completing special missions. In this way, playing as Paris will see you dragged in varying directions, demanding that you at the same time keep Paris close to Helen, and sending him off to fight your brother's enemies. Back in Greece, King Agamemnon is set on razing Troy to the ground, and he may do so by vassalizing his neighbors. Agamemnon's playstyle is centered around vassalization, an action only he may use. The lion's share mechanic lets you feed off of your subjects, taking a share of their resources and placing them in your coffers. You can decide how large a share you take each round, and you may also extract a large sum of their resources once every turn. But do so cautiously, however, for every extract will eventually make your vassals hate you, and at some point they may even rebel. Agamemnon also has the ability to appoint his generals to offices, giving them various bonuses like +1 to hero motivation, or letting that hero recruit more units per turn. This King of Men ability is unique to Agamemnon and has the potential to make his faction's heroes particularly powerful. The other heroes in the game have their own unique aspects, making Troy's faction feature some of the most unique and diverse in a single game in Total War history. The global features also aid in making Troy's campaign so enjoyable. The Divine Will window lets you deal with the gods by sacrificing to them for favor. Maintaining a high favor with the gods is useful as it provides several positive effects for your faction depending on which god you gain favor with. Ares gives you military bonuses while Aphrodite provides happiness and growth bonuses. Favor can further be gained by building temples to a select god. In addition, missions provide you with ways to accumulate resources or other faction-specific bonuses, and even though they are optional, are often extremely useful to complete. The diplomacy mechanic returns, highly inspired by the way it works in Total War 3 Kingdoms, which in my opinion is highly welcome. Now diplomacy is a simple numbers game where you know exactly what it will take for a deal to go through. Diplomacy therefore becomes reliable and useful, and with the barter system, diplomacy is something you would not want to neglect. Trading is important to maintain your empire, and I love how important it is to balance your resources. It becomes even more vital to do so because Troy does not deal in standardized currency, but lets you collect 5 resources: food, wood, stone, bronze, and gold, which can be used in several ways. Food maintains most troops, for example, while bronze is needed for the more advanced units. You need stone to build certain buildings and wood for almost all of them, while gold can be used for several specific actions, like building certain buildings and as an important trade resource to exchange for other resources. While I would have liked to see more depth in faction administration, the diversity and quality of unique faction features makes the Troy campaign fun and fresh, and something of a new take on the Total War formula, which I hope can be replicated in some form or another in the next historical Total War game. The campaign map is of course beautiful. The blue ocean, the fields of green, and the towering mountains are gorgeous, and Troy offers arguably the prettiest campaign map to date. The same can be said for the game's UI, which is immaculate and really brings the Trojan War's art style to the forefront. The soundtrack is perhaps the most pleasant I've heard in a Total War game since Rome 2, and I love how it brings the feeling of ancient Greece with it. However, I wish the game provided us with more visual candy. Virtually every city of the same type look identical, be it villages or larger cities, and the fact that Troy does not have a unique city model is beyond me. Additionally, I would have liked to see a visual representation on trade on the map, with carts being brought back and forth or something, like we've seen in previous titles. All in all, however, the campaign is highly enjoyable, even though it lacks the administrative depth seen in games like Total War Attila, where governors and family trees were mechanics you could play around with. Now for the battles, the side of Total War which is more or less unique to the series. Like I said, Total War is known for its massive battles, where hundreds or thousands of individual units fight it out on large battlefields or siege maps. Troy is of course no different, but manages to both innovate and regress at the same time. The battlefields of Troy are some of the most unique and beautiful I've yet to see in a strategy game. It provides large fields and cities, as well as choke points and even vantage points where you can make grand and final stands, rendering your enemies superior numbers worthless. Archers, slingers, and javelin throwers are valuable assets in this game, as they deal a massive amount of damage to enemy units while your swordsmen hold the line. The heroes work much like they did in Total War 3 Kingdoms Romance mode, essentially being supernatural heroes with special powers which can boost both themselves and their allies. However, I'm not a big fan of the special mythical units in the game, be it harpies, minotaurs, or cyclops. They seem kind of out of place and something taken out of Warhammer, and breaks the immersion of being in a Bronze Age Greece. The heroes do not somehow feel out of place, however, because they are meant to be special, and after all, they are legends and look and act like humans. In addition, the battles sadly feel like a step down from what we've seen in Three Kingdoms. While the graphics on the campaign map are stunning, the visuals on the battle map are far less so. The units seem only slightly better looking than those in Total War Rome 2, and the environment, apart from the gorgeous horizon, also has a less than stunning look to them. The fact that Troy's unit roster appear less varied than those in other Total War games, lacking proper siege units, proper cavalry, etc., even though there are certain types like chariots or weird-looking minotaurs in the game, makes the battles less exciting than before, and certainly heavily infantry-based. This is of course my preference, as I love cavalry flanks and catapult fire raging across the battlefield, but as the game is focused on a small part of the world in an age very long ago, it is a simple fact that units are less diverse than elsewhere, in both appearance and function. This also goes for the unit abilities, as they lack the ability to use fire arrows and toggle shield formations to better guard against arrows, for example. Certain units may switch between weapon styles, but this often appears less useful than I would have liked. A Total War Saga Troy offers a unique Total War experience which you'll only really get here. The faction mechanics make every kingdom unique and interesting, and the global mechanics, like diplomacy and the Pantheon of Gods, are fun to deal with and micromanage. Although the battles could have been more interesting, they work just fine and become better and better as you are able to recruit stronger and more diverse units. If you are a fan of Total War 3 Kingdoms, but miss that historical European feel, a Total War Saga Troy may be exactly what you are looking for. It is not fully historical, but offers a mixed bag of history and myth, which, unless you are a Puritan history player, works well enough to mostly not get in the way of the story Troy tries to tell, of the battle between brothers and families over the great city of Troy. Hey there friends, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It would help me out a lot. And if you want to see any other types of reviews or Let's Plays, then please let me know in the comments below. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.